Alright, selling my 2002 Chevy Impala V6 4-door white. It's a nice model with leather seats. Was never a cop car. This one I picked up at an auction. I redid the rims. I got that Carfax report for it. It's got 200,000 miles. Never been in an accident. It was a fleet car its entire life. There's a little dent right here. This is just paint chips. There's no dent actually there. It looks like someone was backing it into their garage and using the sound of the crunch to know when they were there. The outside of the body is still pretty nice. You know, I gave it a short hand wash. You know, it's still dirty, but it looks a lot better than it did look. I put the brush guard on. Those lights and then the windshield are fake. They're real lights. They're just not any kind of emergency light. This stuff here is not a scratch. It's actually looks like a strip of tar. It's actually coming off. It looks like a strip of tar splatter. There's a couple little spots of it on there. You know, little goof off will take that off. You know, so somebody hit it with their car door right here, but there's no dent. It just left some red paint. You know, with some goof off will take that off too. But let's see. It had been in storage and it had a car cover on it, and you can see where the antenna was hitting it. You know, it's pretty much that's the only parts of the car that have any kind of rust on is right here. A little bit of white spray paint. I'll get rid of that. But now I did put a dash cam system in with the monitor, and there's a locking tape deck in the trunk, and but I didn't permanently install the wire. I didn't run the wire under the carpet. It is ran under the molding, of course, for the head unit and everything. I get some AC on. Now the steering wheel looks like it's had 200,000 miles put on it. You know, they didn't have a steering cover, so it could definitely use a steering cover. Let me turn it off so you can actually hear the car start. I don't know how it's going to sound on the camera though. Runs great, idles very smooth. The AC is extremely cold, which I'm turning on right now. It's hot in here. What I'm going to do is I got a code scanner which I can plug in and read the engine codes off the car and see all the sensors and everything. So you know, a lot of people they'll take the LED out of the check engine light and things like that. You know, this you can't do it because it's got a different setup. Let's see. Let's get a look at the interior now, which I'm not really sure how good the perspective looks on this camera. I'm using a head mount strap, but let's go ahead and close that. And, you know, I didn't really clean this up much. This still needs a good cleaning, but seeing as the armrest looks nice, and I still got my stuff in there. And this comes down. And then you got nice cup holders here, and look at the top up here where there's no damage. I mean, the roof's not perfectly clean, but you know, there's no tears or anything in it, or tears or cigarette burns or any of that stuff. But and that, let's go ahead and look at the engine, where I have, you know, it's still running. I have no idea how it's going to sound on this camera. A lot of times you get a lot of crazy air noise when trying to videotape the sound of an engine. I haven't cleaned the engine or anything. It's still dirty, as you can see, and I Wipe that off, that's dirty. But the engine's very smooth, sounds really good. No bad noises or anything, you know. I mean, if you know anything about engines, you'll see here where it says Excel, that'll switch to the your RPMs. There goes our RPM meter showing. Let's go ahead and, this is actually set up for my motorcycle, so let's go to the blank screen here, add a display, we'll add a half dial meter, just so you can see some of the sensors here. Let's go down. Alright, here we go. Here we got here's engine coolant temperature. Right now it's at 181 degrees. This will show your exhaust gas valve regulator voltage. Here's your engine load. Don't worry about that oil temp. That's not, you have to set that one before it'll give you a value. It's not 32 degrees. It shows your engine load here, which right now it's at between 3.53 and 3.92%, and as I rev the engine, you'll see the engine load go up, which of course the air conditioning is on right now as well. So if I turn the air conditioning off, the engine load will drop down a little bit more, which is a good sign of a good running engine. Alright, here's our fuel flow, how much fuel actually flowing through the injectors, and it will show your banks, your fuel banks and everything, the trim. Here's a bunch of GPS values here. Here we have our ignition voltage, our intake air temperature, which is at 138 degrees. It is very hot today. Intake manifold pressure in PSI, or you can have it in bar. Some guys like to have their pressure in bar. Alright, it'll show knock retard if you're showing any type of knock retard, which it's not. Here goes your mass airflow rate. Right now it's in cubic feet a minute, which you can change that to different settings if you want to show the rate in a different amount. All right, here's my miles per gallon. Here's my long-term average. This is the calculated across the engine's computer as far as driving for the life of the car. Right now it's at 28.2 miles per gallon. The instant is not so good. I know a lot of people, they love their instant things, but the instant, it's really good for nothing. Instant, you know, you're on the expressway, you take your foot off the gas and your instant will show you're going 130 miles to the gallon. Put your foot back on the gas and it shows that you're doing 10 miles to the gallon. Instant is not very useful. Here goes our oxygen sensors, which there's two of them on this car. Here's our GPS speed, here's our throttle position on manifold, our timing advance. Alright, you can set different trips on here. Here goes your, if your car has boost, you can have this read the boost. Right now it's reading my vacuum, so you can see if there's any vacuum leaks or anything, which it's not running any vacuum leaks. Alright, the camera, the monitor and everything that I have set up, came out of a cop car in where it says Harris County, Texas. But right now I have it hooked up to the running lights. The lights do come on automatically at night. There is a sensor up there. There's different mods you can do if you don't want the lights to come on automatically when the sun goes down. All right, so here I'm gonna go ahead and turn those on so you can see this. It does zoom in very well. It's at its max zoom is 128. It does work very good at night. The keys are backlit. You can turn that on or off. It can be wired in with a UV light, you know, an infrared light, where the night vision will pick that up a lot brighter than a regular light. Let's go ahead and come back. All right. Yeah, it looks, you know, it's set up with all the information on there, you know, as they had it in Harris County, Texas. You know, if you do come to buy the car, I'll show you what the lock means. There's a key for the tape deck in the trunk, and what that means is if you attempt to rewind and record over something, you have to have access to the tape deck to do that. Once you do that, you attempt to do that, it locks the system. This way, in case you know if you were a cop and you did something wrong and you're trying to cover it up, you didn't have the key to the lockbox. Alrighty.